Hello there, welcome back to the stream. It's been a while, and today I'm working on this character customization UI built in Unreal Engine 5 using UMG. And there's a little bit of backend that I wrote in C++ for this to basically replicate it and store instanced structs, which is something you can't do in Blueprint. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool little tool. You can go through and customize your character. So I am partway through this. I do need to add a system to deny other pieces of equipment, because you are able to collide basically certain assets, which is not great. Also, I'm failing to, oh, here we go. Find that piece and then colorize that gold. Let's take this bucket off. Let's go for a this fancy top hat here. What have we got here? Footman. Just turn it off. Okay, cool. And then let's get some assets down here. Let's get some bracers. It's pretty cool. We need some boots, so let's get some boots here. This was built on my weekends and evenings over the last few weeks. We've been basically building out this game called Hearth Bound. And it's a little co-op game, so this whole thing needs to be replicated. Music might be a little bit loud. We'll see. Hopefully the music's not too loud. If you're watching, let me know. In the meantime, yeah, so let's have a look at the belts here. What belt options have we got? It's an interesting belt. It's the nun belt. But it looks like there's some sort of seam, which is a bit of a shame. It's okay if I use the regular belt. It's not too bad. This. And I do actually want to change the body underneath. I think there is a footman thing, so yeah, we'll go with this one. What I find interesting about this asset is that I might need to, well, basically the skin in the center doesn't really work great, so not ideal. Got a message about a fab support ticket. Oh well. Okay, so I would like to split this up so that I could say have the legs from here and the arms from here and something like the body from here. But that will be quite the undertaking. I might do that in a version 2. Right now, let's go fix the cape here. That's the one of the first things that I want to fix quickly. So the way that this works is I have my data defined using editor utility widget tool. It basically batch creates all of these assets that I can then go and name and configure for additional variables to drive the system that creates, basically dynamically creates these option lists from view models. So that's pretty neat. It comes from a little bit of C++ work. I want to look at the capes. So if I go to the capes here and I look at whichever cape it is that I'm using right now, which is the archer, we'll go take a look at the archer cape. So, well, I don't actually know which one it's going to be, so let's go take a look. It's this one here. This particular material is too low res, and I am going for a low res style, so that is intended, but it's a little too low res. So what I'm going to do is go and grab the diffuse for these, which, to be honest, I wish was just color picked. There's a lot of textures in here. If I go and edit these by property matrix and size them up a little bit, and jump back, you see that's improved the look down there. So now we've got, this is a little bit better, yeah. You have a little pink cape, that's quite cute. Though it is very pink, and the icon for it is not very pink. So what I need to do, we'll save all these textures, we'll jump back over here and take a look at this asset. We'll just make this more pink because it is a very pink cape. So we'll go with this. Maybe we'll tweak a little bit of this fall off here. Yeah. So now, yeah, that represents the color a lot better. And this is actually, this says it's a bright purple with pink tones, and it is also not that. This also says it's orange. It's actually green. Wait, these are the same. Those are the same asset. I'll have to look at that. So, firstly, let's take a look at this purple. This purple is the wrong color. So let's go, rather than destructively doing this, let's just go purple 2. We'll get this darkened a little bit here. I usually actually do this the opposite way around, so let's go with this and pop that in here. This is cached as a material instance dynamic, so it's not actually going to reload unless I reload the editor. Okay. I didn't save the cape choice. I think it was the mage. No? It was the, oh, sorry, yeah, it was the archer, right? Okay, so yeah, we got this purple. This matches the color a lot better now, so that's cool. Let's take a look at, what should we look at next? So, well, there's this orange one that is obviously the exact same as the first one, so I don't know if that's a mistake on my part. Well, obviously it's a mistake on my part. There are 7 entries here. And there are 1, 2, let's go underscore D in here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 capes. But my gosh, are these two very, very close. And in fact, this blue and old blue is also very, very close. What I could do is just color shift it. I could just color shift it. Because you can open the texture and you could just hue shift what is in there. So let's try it out. So we've got this, well, first, before I do that, I want to see which one I like. So we've got this dark blue. We've got this blue here. It is literally the same. It's like, I think it's the same. Need to do some like, oh, you can see that the trim goes from silver to gold. I do like the silver trim. Silver trim is nice. I'll just keep that, that's fine. But these two are very much near identical. This one's just a little bit brighter. I actually prefer whatever the orange one is. So, we'll expand all of this. We'll go take a look at this orange one here, uses the old green. And so this new green here, we'll go and edit the texture for this to give it a different feel. So, we jump in to our character creator here, and you can switch between different races. I haven't loaded the game on this machine yet, so take a second to load all the textures. In a cooked game, that's not really a problem. And you can go to the orc. It keeps all your customizations, which is also pretty cool. And then I haven't hooked up these at the bottom yet, which are presets. So I need to go and do the presets today. So that will be part of this sort of 2 to 3 hour stream. We'll do that. And then you've got your character creation over here on the right. So for example, we could create a new, let's create this one. And we'll give this a name, Orcalina. We'll change the skin color. Change the face type, play with the eyes, the ears. We've got these long ears. The interesting thing about these ears is I actually created them inside of Unreal. So you can edit the models now, which is pretty cool. I'll show you real quick. So if I come in and I type in DA ears, I get the long ears here. Go and open up the female ears. Take a look here. So you see these ears on the character. If I come over here and go to model and select to edit the model, now I can just grab and move things around, and you can see it actually applies it, which is super cool. So obviously I'm not going to do that. So this should be the normal non-silly ears. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. It means you could do a lot more variants, basically, like directly in the engine, as long as you've got the modeling tools enabled. So let's get some hair in here. Got different hair types. I feel like there's something missing about this top element. I don't feel like this top element on this hair is how it's supposed to look. Anyway, so what else can we do here? It's cool, like tattoo character designs. Okay, well, we'll keep it PG and we'll keep some kind of clothes on under here. Some kind of thief character. I love that this says blue, but it's clearly brown. Anyway, we were looking at the cape, right? So this is the Ranger cape. We're looking at the Archer cape. And we were looking at the green one here. Okay, so this green cape, what I can do is come in and modify the raw asset, because I'm not going to keep this color. I've got two of the same color, so I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to pitch shift it or Q shift it around a little bit. It does do some horrible things to the actual texture, so this is honestly not super ideal, and now we've got these horrible pinks in here. I may end up just deleting this one, or we could desaturate it as well. We could desaturate it and have kind of a nice kind of gray. The main color I'm looking at now is this bottom color, but this is pretty cool. We don't have a gray option, so we're going to go with this. I need to add the physics onto this so that it actually performs, or the illusion of it is a little bit better. Same with the tabard. I need to update the tabard as well. The hair is okay, but you can add physics to the hair as well. I've done it on another project that I was working on. It's pretty easy and effective. So with this cape now, we have this green and we need a gray. So I'm going to jump over and I'm going to create a new one here. We'll just call this gray, or gray, depends how you want to spell it. And I'm back. So let's edit this gray color here, and we'll just go whoop. We'll pop this down. Use that here. We'll have to close this out, reopen it. I forgot to save the character. So yeah, if you don't hit confirm, you don't save the character. So that's fun. Yeah, that's cool. That works. Okay, the next thing on the list. So I get to show you how the batch tool works, I think, because I think the next thing is actually, well, we could set up the presets, but I wanted to set up the dwarf beards because I don't have the dwarf beards yet. And dwarves look kind of meh without beards. So I'm going to call this dwarfy and then just confirm it because I don't want to lose it. I've also got a bug to fix here where it still keeps both of them selected, which is annoying. But you can just quickly switch between them, which is cool. Okay, so let's customize this guy. I'm just going to give him some hair to start with. There's not many options. There are not many options. We'll just go with that for now. We'll give him the essential ginger dwarf look. Okay, so I want to add all the bits. So let's confirm this change. And actually, I want to change his armor. Change him to the footman. Yeah. There's something really messy about this. Oh, that's interesting. The Ranger bracers don't have colors now. Footman has colors. Ranger does not have colors. Something's up with that Ranger asset. Yeah, it's just appearing as like null. It knows that there are options, but it's not displaying them. So now back over here, I'm going to change this to footman. Another thing I need to do is convert all these archer options into a list of color options, basically. Something's going on with his something's going on with his arms, which is not good, so I'll have to look into that as well. Yeah, so that's not great. He's missing his arms. Curious. Very curious. Anyway, we'll confirm this. And oh, damn it, I just made a new character. Also realize this is clipping now on the left and right, which I thought I'd fixed. Okay, so also I have a text issue here with swimsuit, which is wrong. Okay. So she's still got her arms. So I'm curious why this guy does not have his own arms. That's really bizarre. Yeah, strange. rather strange. Yeah, I tend to pull off of here really fast, so I need to increase the padding of this paint palette, so that's getting really annoying. Alright, let's start stepping through these things. I should really get a note list, so let's get a to-do list here. Okay, so the paint palette padding. We've also got the issue with the missing arms on dwarf characters. We've got the selection issue after saving. We've got to add beards. There was something that wasn't selecting the default correctly, and I forget which. Oh, there's the swimsuit name issue. Well, that's not right. Oh no, it is right. That is right. That's fine. And this is nothing. And then archer, mage. It would be nice to per slot body material. That would be cool. That would be cool. What else are we concerned about here? What are we doing? Hey BM, we're building a character customizer. So it's got a bunch of controls. You can flick through things. You can colorize. You can change the looks of stuff. Change the eyes on here. Oh, a randomizer would be cool. Randomizer. That would be cool. And we have sort of like concepts like hide the hair when we're equipping things on our head. And like the ears are cold when that's the case as well. Let's get something a little bit more family friendly on the character, and then let's go grab some ranger boots and confirm this. So this is one of the bugs that we're going to fix, is this selection issue here. And another bit about this customizer is you can just change the race and it updates everything according to your selections. And then so we've got Dwarfy, and we've got the other dwarf who just has literally a change to that. Let's go and customize this and rename this to, I don't know, Miranda. And change the skin color to be interesting like this. And now we have a male dwarf, female dwarf, and this female character that we had originally. And so yeah, the goal is to just let players customize their character in this game. So my job is to make that character customizer, so everything you see is built in UMG over last few weekends. The off hours that I get here, so all right, let's get started on things. So the first one is the paint palette padding. So right now, when I click on here, I often move my mouse to take a look at the colors, and I end up just padding directly off the panel, which for my design was to hide the paint palette, because I thought that that was a genius idea, but I tend to just keep opening the paint palette and then immediately losing it. So let's go and edit that. So character selection, paint palette here. Let's go and work on the padding for this. So we'll go 15 units. Let's try that. That immediately feels better. Oh my god, it's so weird to say that, like, I feel a weight lifted from the pressure of having to pick tiny options in a box to now having this nice big box and the options are far easier to use. And obviously we can't see the hair changing because I have a helmet, so let's go take the helmet off and let's go change the hair to something else. This. Then we can play with that, so that's cool. Oh yeah, the orc hair texture issue. Question mark. There's something up there. I need to look into that. Okay, so the paint palette padding is done. That's off the list. Missing arms on the dwarf. That is a little spicier. Dwarfy. Mr. Dwarf. Mr. Dwarf. If I go to the human, he's fine. He's doing a-okay. Dwarf dude. Oh, now that I've I don't know. I don't know. Now it's not broken. If I go to fail, right. Okay, so something isn't refreshing, but literally if I change my race, it refreshes, and now my character is correctly drawn. So when I'm switching between these characters here, yeah, very interesting. I wonder where that comes into play. So, well, let's go find out, because that is a pretty reproducible issue. We've got our mannequin here. And the reason this is its own class with its own cosmetic component and it literally just holds the meshes is so that I can use it in various places in the game without having it need to be a character. And then I'll plug this onto my character later on and I'll find out what bugs happen. So that's another thing actually is add mannequin to character here. We do need to add that mannequin to the actual game. It's not actually in the game yet. It's literally, I've just been building the UI, so that's where we're at. Okay, so in here we have a somewhat basic flow, a cosmetic changes, and you decide what to do with that cosmetic. And then there's a bunch of logic that determines, like, this particular pack has a lot of nuance, and you need to take textures, for example, the skin texture, and plug it into the other clothing. And that is smart because we have a clothing material that has a gray skin, and then we have a bunch of skin options, and so you're actually just plugging variables over between them. And so that's what basically this little snippet is doing. It's going through, it's grabbing the meshes, getting the tags, finding the asset through key maps, it's applying them. I am doing load blocking here because this is just menu, so I'm not too worried about hitches. And then we're applying that and forcing it to load so that it's resident and actually like high res for the character customizer. So right now we have this bug where if I change character slot, something messy happens. So let's go look at the character select widget. We have this view model for cosmetic saves, and we just literally populate this list view. Yep, so that is literally just a container, and then the actual save item itself. The idea I had for this is that it will also store the save data of like how many items you've placed as that character, because this game's about like building. So as you build out this world, instead of having like a level, or maybe you'd have a level associated to it, but like as you build the world, it would increase the level of the character. And if you think of like World of Warcraft, which this is inspired by largely, you have a character level for each of your classes that you've created for each of your characters, and in this game that's just like a fun nod. So we'll get there eventually. Right now I'm interested in what happens when I click on this guy. So when I click this, we've got some old debug logs. The character list, we select the save. So when the save gets selected, we load the save here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a breakpoint here, because I want to see what functions trigger as a result. So he's fine right now. Actually, I want to remove it for the first one. Boop. So we get this tall, elven looking. Right, and then we hit dwarfy. So this happens, and then I can open up, I think I've already got the mannequin actually open back here. What I'm expecting to happen is I get a bunch of these cosmetic changes occur. I'm concerned that this might actually also trigger. Oh, this race gender has no default. That's not good. Not good. Yeah, okay, so this triggers, and it's probably going to trigger for every single entry. And this is from the server side as well. So, need to be mindful of that. Okay, so it's going to run through and it's going to do every single one. And then it's going to refresh the cosmetics, which is going to refire the cosmetic change for every current entry. And that's because the race and gender changed. And so when you change race and gender, every item in the game, like the shoulders and the chest pieces and the helmets, that there are variants for each race and gender, just because they have different proportions. So the way that this pack does it, therefore, is to have different skeletal meshes rigged differently, animate and just organized better. So we refresh all of the cosmetics. Apparently there's no replication on this, which is fine. It could be a cause for concern though, because we run this skin change and then we locally refresh, but it's okay. And now he's got his missing arms. So I'm curious if right now actually is the reason for this a material issue, because there's some world position offset logic inside the material for this body, which would be here. No, okay. That works. That does not work. What would it be? What would it be? It's interesting because it's definitely updated parts of it. And if I go message to 1 second, please hold for this interstitial or intermission here. Please hold while I read this message. It's getting warm. I will say that much. It is getting warm. Okay, so just trying to think logically, like what could be causing this? Something in the game. Oh, it could be the instance. It could be the instance data. Instance data. There's an asset somewhere that does some stuff to the model. So, like, it puffs out the vertices basically. I need to dig hole. I should really add a default to that as well. Okay, so, well, that's gonna now have broken my character, yeah, so I may as well close the editor. So somewhere in, and I think it's body. No. Okay. Guess not. Guess not. I actually I should have written it down. I've forgotten where this comes from. There's a piece of logic that puffs out the arms and other parts of the mesh. I do wonder if it's to do with this animation. Possibly. I'm just thinking in my head, like, where is that code? Put that little 0.2 second delay really makes a bit of a horror. Okay, so that is not necessarily the problem. I wonder if I should do this. Then this. Yeah, okay, so that's actually fixed it. There is potentially just the need for the mesh to be correct before, and I've forgotten where the code is, and it's a massive system, so I'm not really interested in going and digging to find it. But if I go to this person and then back to this person, this is broke. If I do maybe a 1 frame delay, which would be a bit horrible, but next frame, let's try that. Yep, so that works, just that 1 frame. And so what we can do in that 1 frame is we can just say set hidden. This is kind of lame. You're going to notice that the character disappears for a frame. Hide. Refresh cosmetics and then don't hide. And I'll clean up the graph afterwards as soon as I found out that this actually fixes the issue, and then we'll move on to the next issue. No, yeah, that's actually fine. That's not too bad. That's actually quite responsive. Okay, we'll go with that. I think we're good there. Then we can move on. We've got bigger fish to fry. Put a little comment around this. This resolves an issue with mesh WPO. Yep. That will be the explanation that I leave there for my future self to question what the hell does that mean. Perfect. Moving on, we fixed an issue, missing arms on the dwarf. Selection issue after saving, right, yeah. So let's go and hit play, and we'll notice that when I think in particular, if I click If I click here, the logic runs correctly. It deselects the other entries. If I create a new entry and then just save this as 2, the previous one is still selected. So I need to fix that. So that's in the save items here. What I want to do when you hit the confirm button, that's the time to fix this, because the save doesn't get created until you hit that confirm button. So here we have the confirm button, and we have a bound event which just says, okay, as long as we're allowed to save this, go back to the other widget, save the slot, and set it as the selected save. Which I think is skipping some logic that sets all other saves to null, to none, basically. So what I need to do here, okay, what do I need to do here? The hope was that setting selected on that actually triggers a delegate, and that delegate is listened to in the save item here, right here, and sets it to selected based on its selection state. And if it is selected, it selects it. But I wonder if this is triggering... yeah, well, let's go and take a look at the race. So there is obviously a race happening here. It's pretty obvious that there is some sort of race happening. Let's clean up our open files. Apparently there's a GitHub vulnerability that has been announced, and I will need to upgrade my GitHub soon, because I am using it. Okay, so we've got all the files open. Now I'm going to debug the selection issue by stepping through the code. So here we have hit play. I'm going to Alt-Tab now, and I'm going to put an F9 on this set selected node, because that's going to trigger, or is intended to trigger. There's a set selected function here that's going to happen. And then within our save items, we're supposed to trigger through this selected logic and jump over here. So go back to the game. The first thing I notice is that nothing is selected. So maybe I unhooked something along the way. Which is a bit strange. So here we have the set selected. We have the set selected false. And the other items get set selected. Sorry, one was to true and the rest are false. So that's cool. Now when we create a new one, nothing happens until we save it with a new thing. So then it gets selected. Cool. Something has been selected as true. Cool. Okay, we're just going to run through the rest of that, all right? And then debugging mode failed. Great. So what I find interesting, I suppose, is that I don't actually see the set selected false logic. I only see the set selected true logic, so I actually don't. Actually, I do know what's happening. Do have a theory, but we can find out better by finding references to this asset here. Let's put some more Dusk on. Dusk is an awesome artist. I actually live streamed some pretty cool stuff recently, which has inspired me. I found out about something called Frutiger Aero recently, and Frutiger Metro, and things actually from my childhood, from the 2000s. And so, I'm a 90s kid, but like growing up into my teens in the 2000s, 2004, 2012, was when I went to uni. So between 2004 and 2012 was like my childhood, and some reason that style is just, it's interesting. It's like really cool. The future we were promised of this like XP Windows. So yeah, I want to do a stream at some point where I reproduce that Frutiger Aero style directly in Unreal Engine without any external modeling tools, and we just use materials and Niagara effects and things like that, just to do some creative exploration, some prototyping in Engine. You really don't need external tools anymore, and if we're feeling spicy, we might even use some AI. But I don't find that to be very tasteful. Often not found to be very tasteful, at least unless it's code. So that's why, yeah, jumping in Engine and using the in-engine modeling tools is a cool way to still have that rapid creativity. So we'll play with that. The bug with the selection issue. In our save game, we have this function here. If we find all references to it and jump through the reference viewer here, it will start indexing through all the blueprints in the project, and it will actually give me a way to look through this. Unfortunately, set selected, the word, or the term, is slightly overloaded, so it is actually quite endemic and is not going to serve me very well. But we'll just do it anyway. So, save our carousel. Right, yeah, select save here. I think this needs to happen. I think this is the missing thing. So when we click on this button, we select the save. But when we initialize, we don't do that. So custom event, select save. Select save here. This might be a little bit spicy actually, because the array is being populated by the list view. So what I might want to do is just add a next frame in here, because otherwise we're going to end up running this in the in-between frames as things are being created into the list, and it's not going to be ideal. Bind event to selected changed here. If it is selected, load it. I tell you what, I should probably just set this to false here. Let's try that. That would be smart, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that just be swell? We have 2 selected saves, which is obviously a part of the bug. So we can click on this guy, create new guy, call him KJ, get these selected events trigger. Still got that bug. And it's because that this one has not been actually recreated fresh. So technically he's still in the list. And this will never have triggered. This new one comes in and is selected. So we do need to select save here. Okay, let's try that. So that's cool. We can switch between these and we no longer get these broken kind of artifacts. We can create a new as, and now we've only got this one selected. If we quit the game and jump back in. So the cause was that in the list view, when we created a new entry, we never actually properly selected it. We told it to be selected, but we didn't tell anything else to not be selected. What this function does is it actually runs this command through the manager and organizes the state of the other saves. So that's cool. That's sorted. Add bids. Let's do the swimsuit name first. So skin 01. I called it swimsuit because I thought that would be funny, but we're just going to call it 01. We'll check that that's resolved because it was kind of silly. So we've got skin color here, and then this is 01, so I named it wrong. Let's resolve that. 1. There we go, so skin 1 through 5, face 1 through 5, underwear 1 through 5, cool. Hair 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 16, 17. What I'm gonna do, I think, is number the hair entries. I'm just gonna fix that quickly as well. So the swimsuit name is fixed, but the hair entry numbers are super wrong, and a lot of other entries will be wrong in the same way. And the reason is because the producer of the artwork created hair for different races. And sometimes number 14 worked on humans and dwarves, but didn't work on orcs. So orcs doesn't have a 14, he has a 15. And that doesn't work for dwarves and humans. It only works for orcs. So humans jump from 14 to 16 and orcs jump from 14 to... So yeah, anyway, so stupid little thing. Let's go fix that. So that's done inside of our list item. We can close down the save stuff right now. We can close that down too. And I don't think we're working on that data asset. So let's go and look at our cosmetic item here. We have this key map that gets created. And in here, if the tag is skin, then we will just create a key map using the name of the skin. There are literally 5 skins, and they are named 1 to 5. Otherwise, oh, so this is for the, sorry, this is the head skin. This is different, yeah. So there are like 25 different head skins for every single color of skin that you can have, and we only want to draw the relative ones, so, or the relevant ones. So yeah. For the keys here, let's turn this music down just a tad. Right, so for the keys on this one, we're jumping in and asking as long as the asset is valid, then we will add it, unless it was intentionally empty. Hang on, the intentionally empty ones might not show up still. So you loop it, you try and load it. If it's not valid, if you can't cast it if it's invalid, so it's just going to fall down here. Oh, sorry, it's loading the cosmetic. So the cosmetic will be one of these. That's fine for my system. It's one of these two. That's fine. Then we try and find the race gender, which we will always generally find. And then, as long as the object is valid or it's intentionally the empty variant where there isn't something, then we draw it. Because there are cases where the hair, like I said, is not valid on the human for version 15. And it's at this point where the key name doesn't help us. I'm going to need to add a property to these definitions that basically is an integer that allows us to, or a boolean, sorry, that allows us to say increment this for this specific cosmetic item. We should be an incrementing number based on the number of entries. So let's go and edit our data, and so we have our types here. I'm going to create a new blueprint class, and I hope this isn't going to break absolutely everything, so I'm going to go and actually go and push this first. Because what I don't want to happen... Oh great, I can't push this first. Well, I'm going to do it the safe way. I'm worried that if I reparent these to a new base class that has that integer, because it's relevant to both, that it will scuff like all my data, and I would be happy to take that risk if I had the ability to commit to source control right now, but I don't. For some reason, I don't. File. Maybe I just need to add the repository. Give me 2 seconds. Maybe this is just a me issue. Okay, right. So now I've got my file editors. Cool. I will actually just commit that right now. And now let's go and create that type. So we can create a blueprint class of a cosmetic definition, and we can add extra params to that. So we can say BP cosmetic definition underscore base, for example. And in here we can add our variable for use index for name, which will be false by default. And then these two assets will just get reparented to that. So file reparent to base cosmetic. File reparent to base cosmetic. And now in our customization data, if I go DA underscore and just double check a few, so I'll just jump in and I'll just check that the data is still there. So we still got that data, for example. Check this ranger, that's still good. Let's go and check some that were a little bit of a pain in the butt to configure. So the alternate materials on that asset are missing. Oh no, here they are. Okay, yeah, so all of this UI configuration is all still valid. And one way we could test to see if this is all still working fine is to just actually play it. So here we go. Looks like it's all good. I get rid of this character. What's interesting with this is that it doesn't actually just pick a previous character right now. So you can end up in a state where you don't have a selected character, and then when you jump in, I think it just gives you the preset, which is this footman, this is the footman. I don't know why the male's animation is so dorky. I need to take a look into that. I don't think that is the correct animation. Also, that's meant to be a female dwarf. Allegedly. I would argue that something is wrong there. Yeah, here we go. So something is definitely wrong. It said customize for starts. It literally said customize. Okay, so new bug. Firstly, index name method is something that we want to do, and then also oh, well, that's actually what we're doing with the hair entry numbers. So we'll just rename this one. Can I rename that, please? We'll rename this to deleting a slot. Delete a slot allows customize still. Delete selected slot allows customize still. Okay. So that's a bug. If I delete my selected slot, or I come in here, yeah, it reckons, for some reason, it reckons I can customize, which shouldn't be the case. So in our character select screen, we have our customize button here. We can find references to this. We have a little function here that just says, hey, based on the saves, if the saves are empty, then you can customize. What this really needs to do is, when the saves change, go through each of them, and we'll need to actually push this into a function, I think. Convert event to function. Oh, great. Okay, sure. Convert event to function. Create on saves updated, and we come in here and we basically say cast to save. I made a blueprint save at one point, and we'll just ask if this is selected. And if it is selected, then we can just become visible and then return. That's fine. We simultaneously have a save and one of them is selected. And in this case, we're going to collapse it because we do not want that to be the case. So now when I go in, I shouldn't be able to customize. Good, because that's what gives an error. Next, I'm noticing just various little things. So we've got this, we've got a big round dwarf. We've got this male one. Oh god. Oh god. That was horrible. I don't know what the hell that was. That's crazy. Right. Okay. Well, something's broken there. So delete selected slot allows customize still. That should be fine now. Well, actually, let's find out. I need to actually delete the selected slot. That would be a good thing to do. Okay, we'll pick Dwarfy. And then we'll create new and we'll call him Dwarfy2. And then we'll delete him, and then that button goes away. So that was fixed. Let's make sure that we fixed the hair entry thing before we move on, because we'll just keep rolling through so many different things. If we jump over to the hair here, use index for name. It would be nice if that was categorized correctly. Under display, apparently. Under cosmetic display. Use index for name on the hair. Yes, I will be doing that, but I'll be doing it this way. So hit enter on here, it opens up this, I tick this box, use index for name on all hair, jump back here, go back to our cosmetic item, branch, promote to variable, sorry, it only needs to be local variable. Promote to local variable L, use index. I may as well explicitly say for name, because that does help identify what the point is here. Use index for name. So here we do this. And here we do this, because they're both extended from the same class, we get the bonus. Keeping that nicely managed, and then come over here, and then it's saying the text here selected directly from the key that came in, which is the name of the asset. So what we can do is do a selector here, select text, both of these. If we're using index for name, then it's this path, otherwise we're going to do this. Okay, so if we are using the index for the name, then we need to track an index. And it will start at 0 and increment from there. And of course, only when it actually gets drawn, which is in this path here. What I find interesting is that this could just do this. And then I don't need this one. So there's no difference between those. Awesome. That should do it. Let's go take a look at the hair and make sure that that is actually numbered now. Perfect. It has absolutely no names. Because I didn't plug it in. Because I'm a smart boy. I feel like in programming I always forget to call a function. And in Blueprint it's just crazy. It's all the time. Hair. None 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because none is an option. None is always an option. So this number actually needs to start at -1. This is going to be good now though, I think. So, and we can use it for anything. We can tell literally anything to be numbered now, which is good. Cool. Hey mate, you're looking great. Alright, dwarfy. Okay, so yeah, this is fine. If I create new and call him number 2, and then delete him, and then exit the game, and then re-enter the game. And bear with me, this is going somewhere. Now I end up in this state where it says it's selected on human here, and it says that it's male. But if I click on the orc, it actually changes. And I click on the human, you can see the human is actually different. It was selected on the female dwarf, for sure. And if I use the male dwarf, it doesn't look wrong here, but I remember taking the helmet off earlier and it was a horror. It was a horror show. So, what we need to do is say, okay, well, it seems like it would seem like the humans are working, but I bet you they're also, yeah, so everything is messed up. That is kind of horrific. I think I know the problem. The preset is missing some data. There's a default preset. Hair entry numbers are done. Add mannequin to character, can't do that right now. Add presets. So we're adding presets right now. However, that's all the time I have for today. It's dinner time, so I'm going to call it here. It was cool hanging out. It's been a while. I want to get back into streaming. This was just one of those days where I, just playing around with a little bit of streaming. So thanks for joining. If there's something you're interested in watching more of, let me know, because I haven't been streaming this project because I didn't think anyone would find it interesting, but I've been told otherwise. So yeah, let me know what you want to see, and I'll show it. Thanks for joining. That was a cosmetic creation little debugging session, and catch you next time.